Good evening, Druids. I am James Pigeon Fielder, one of your friendly neighborhood non-officer directors, and I'm actually recording a video to discuss a interesting and provocative and thoughtful and maybe slightly amusing dream I had about a week ago. And instead of writing a long and ponderous text message for Facebook, I thought I'd record a long and ponderous video instead, and sticking somewhat close to brand, almost completely unscripted. Anyway, before I continue, if you don't know who I am, and this is going to be important for the rest of the discussion, I think, I actually study games for a living, the emergent politics in game worlds. So I love games. Love them, particularly role-playing games. Anyway, there I was a week ago where I had a dream that I was a magic user inside of a Dungeons and Dragons game. Now, magic user is an old school term, sort of like this graybeard here. I don't think that's been used since second edition. Certainly, not since first edition. I can't recall at the top of my head. Anyway, the idea was in this party, I'm the magic user. That might have been a cleric, but all I know is I'm the one who could summon some sort of gate. Think about that ADF. Gate. Anyway, so I could summon a gate to open a gate to summon an entity that could perhaps defend the party, which I had to do. We were faced by an encounter. Great evil Foozle on one end, me with the ability to open a gate to summon an entity, and it worked, and we defeated the Foozle and almost went about our merry way when one of the other characters in this game turned to me and said, "But Mr. Magic User, you left the gate open. We can't leave with the gate open. You don't know what might come through it." And my character had the gall to break the fourth wall and put their hand on the other character's shoulder and say, it doesn't matter, man. It's just a game. Poof, I woke up. It's like 2 a.m, perfect hour where people will question their life choices. And I lay there going, man, what a strange dream. So I was a character, and I knew I was a character at one point, which then broke the suspension of disbelief. But just a game, right? Not so fast. Was it just a game? Now, in our own practice, in our own ritual space, we open a gate and close it. And we are particular about making sure we close it behind ourselves. Now, I have seen some rituals with slight deviance from court order where the participants might want to share a meal with the entity of the occasion and they leave it open longer. But still, at the end of the ritual, I've never seen the gate not closed. Now, the cynic will look at the D&D game and then look at the ADF ritual and say, oh, it's all make-believe. All make-believe. And I would say, not so fast. Not so fast, kind sir. Because, let me throw some theory on you. According to Johann Ozinga, who wrote the seminal work on the ritual of gameplay, Homo Ludens, or Man the Player, the temple and the tennis court are indistinguishable. What he's saying is when you have a consecrated space, be it for a game, be it for a religious experience, or even a modern secular court, inside that space, everything is functionally real to the players. Certainly everything they learn inside that space is real to the players. So if the intent is there, if you open a gate inside a consecrated space, the gate exists. And someone would say, well, you don't have a gate. You use the idea of a court. Laws are only as good as the people who believe in them. And when you do it inside of a consecrated space, it gives it weight. That's why you'll have the judges wearing the outfit, the robes, being on a heightened platform. So that adds a second layer. Let's say the first layer here is the concept of the consecrated space, called a magic circle, synthetic experience, liminality, so other terms. And the other concept is symbolic correspondence, which off the top of my head originated with Victor Turner in the late 60s and early 1970s. What symbolic correspondence means is basically originating with earlier religious practice where a cleric, priest, practitioner would wear the bones of an animal, wear the skin of an animal, wear the skull of an animal. And in that practice, they weren't pretending they were the animal. Per symbolic correspondence, they became the animal inside that space. Now, the same cynic who says, well, this is all make-believe, now I turn back to him and say, aren't you the same fellow who went to a sports game wearing a jersey and painting your face, or went to a concert wearing leather pants and an old concert t-shirt, or went to a con and dressed up as your favorite character, or went to work dressed in a suit to present yourself to your boss? That is the modern expression of symbolic correspondence. So now let's ADF. We have the consecrated space. We have the accoutrements that we recognize, the altar. We have the priests and the stoles. We have some participants who actually might engage in a little bit of symbolic correspondence of their own, like wearing jewelry, T-shirts, utilakilts, or something that kind of gives them that tactile feel of being part of the ritual. Or you even have participants engaged in what we call non-material culture expression, where they know the music that they could sing along to. They share the same ideas, or symbolic correspondence that can't be visibly seen, but has to be kind of experienced, if you will, but it's usually shared within a group. So, going back to the dream, I was laying there, thinking to myself, if all this is true, that means in my dream, I was in a game where the intent was there, where we opened a gate to summon an entity, after which I didn't close the gate and left it open in my dream, but then also questioned its validity. So, is there a gate still open in my dream somewhere? And it's one of those moments where I thought to myself, interesting. Let me apply that to modern parlance. If the intent is there, I have just left an ADF ritual where I've had a very, very strong personal gnosis, where I've had a very strong religious experience. Then I go down to Griffin Games and I play a game of Dungeons and Dragons. And now the table is a consecrated space. And in real life, in the real game, not a dream, we open a gate. If the intent is there and the circle is real, what happens if we don't close the gate in the game? And this is where I will leave it to you to post your ideas in the comments. And this is the Pigeon, signing off for now. Peace.